So you are in Estonia or you're planning on going to Estonia and you need a SIM card. Well, I can already congratulate you because you're gonna enjoy one of the lowest data rates in Europe and especially in the European Union. You're gonna get so much data for so little money that it's almost insane. You would think that these prices should be implemented all over the world, but that would take the charm out of the Estonian telecom situation. But which SIM card should you buy? There are so many options. You have the three operators, Elisa Estonia, Telia Estonia and Tele2 Estonia. But there are 7 different SIM cards you can buy from, different brands. What are these brands and which one is actually the best? Which one is the best if you don't want to spend 5 euros? What about 10 euros? Which one has the fastest speed? Which one has the best coverage? We'll go through all of that in this video, so let's get started, shall we? Hi, it's Odo from Phone Travellers here, and today we will be talking about Estonian SIM cards. Yes, it's time to get that uncovered. You may already have watched my Estonian SIM card comparison video, which you can watch up here. And there I gave you a brief introduction to the telecom situation in Estonia, did a speed test, and there we found out that Elisa, you got the fastest speeds with that. But that's just speeds. What if you don't really care about speeds? What if you just want to spend the least amount of money in order to get the most amount of data? Then the speed test result doesn't really account to you. Or what if you want to roam within the European Union? Which one offers the most megabytes or gigabytes, if they even offer gigabytes? What about international calls? What about all these other factors that are also relevant to know? That's what this video is about. So it's a follow-up on the comparison video. It's built on it, and we go much more in depth with the information that we have, and based by taking all these different factors into account. So which one is the fastest, which one is the best coverage, which one is the cheapest for 5 euros, 10 euros or stuff like that. Take all these things into consideration, then it's easier to find out which one is the best operator. Before we do all of that, I just have to quickly introduce you to the telecom situation here in Estonia. As mentioned earlier, we have 3 operators, which are Elisa Estonia, Tele2 Estonia and Telia Estonia. Why do I keep adding Estonia to the name? Because all these operators are active in other places within the Baltics or Northern Europe. Like Telia is from Sweden, if I'm correct. Tele2 is also from Sweden, so they are active in multiple places. That's why I add those phrases, but for now I'll just say Elisa, Telia and Tele2 just to make it a bit easier to understand. And what is quite funny is that all these operators, they have 2 prepaid brands. So for example with Elisa, you can get an Elisa SIM card or a SIM SIM card. SIM is more focused on the youth, so all the way up to 35, the age of 35. But I'm pretty sure that you can buy your SIM card if you want to buy it. What about Telia? Telia, they don't really have, like Elisa, just a Telia prepaid SIM card. No, you have the Super SIM card and you have the Simple SIM card. What's the difference between those two? They just offer different packages. One is a bit cheaper than the other and different perks. The same applies to Elisa and SIM. SIM is a bit cheaper and has different perks, but they don't get the perks that Elisa has. But they all use the same network, so even if you go with SIM or with one of the Simple or Super SIM cards, they're not MVNOs, so you still get access to the main network and the same speeds as if you would have gone with Elisa in the case of SIM. Then we have Tele2. They also have just Tele2 prepaid SIM cards, and they have the Smart SIM cards. Once again, Smart is not the MVNO, so you get the same speeds than Tele2. What's the difference between Smart and Tele2? The regular Tele2 SIM card costs you €3.50 or €4, whereas the Smart one only costs you €1. And the package that are offered, Smart can buy Tele2 SIM cards, so they are not dedicated Smart packages, so that's the difference. So there are some small subtle differences between these 6 brands that you have to take into account. And with Tele2 there's also a data only SIM card, so your total selection of SIM cards in Estonia is 7. So then you're wondering, okay, well, which one should I get? There are many things to take into consideration. In my comparison video, you noticed that I only tried 3 SIM cards, which was the Elisa one, the Super by Telia and the Tele2 itself. Mainly because there's no point in testing the same network twice, because I could have gone for SIM and Super, SIM and Elisa, so it's Super's from Telia, but I would probably get the same speeds, especially at the same place, because it's the same network. So only tested these 3. But in this video I will take all these 7 different SIM cards into account, the packages and stuff like that, because they all offer different stuff. So in this video we will take several scenarios which I mentioned earlier, but I won't talk about the pre-research I done, so keeping all the packages offered by, let's say, Elisa, and then send all into an overview, because then this video will take a full hour. That will be boring. But you can read all of these packages that all these operators offer if you go to phone2everest.com/Estonia-comparison. Then you can see it there. But now we're just going to take the certain scenarios and see which one was the fastest, which one is the cheapest if you only spend €5, €1, €10, €20, stuff like that. So let's go to the laptop and let's get analytical. And worry, it won't get too crazy with the numbers, it's just prices, so don't worry about that. So let's go. Alright, it's time to take the comparison to the next level and talk about everything we know about these Estonian operators, compare them, and eventually find out the best SIM card. But before we do all the fun stuff, we have to do the boring stuff and talk about the frequencies. Even though, well, most people don't really care about them, they're quite important to know, because if your phone doesn't support the frequencies used in a particular country or by the operator, then either you cannot choose your phone at all in the said country, or you can only use the slower frequencies, which could be 3G or, in the worst case, only 2G. So basically there are two standards in the world. You have the American standards, and then when I say American, I talk about North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. And then you have the Asian European standards. For 4G, there are also 3G and 2G standards, but we will mainly focus about 4G. And the 4G standards in Americas are 850 megahertz, AWS, which is 1700 megahertz and 2100 megahertz, and 1900 megahertz. Whereas in Asian Europe, they primarily use 900 megahertz, 1800 megahertz, and 2100 megahertz. Does it mean that these operators only stick to the standards? No, those are just generalizations and standards, and operators can deviate from them if they wish. Often they have supplements and frequencies for the 4Gs. Usually there are higher frequencies, so there could be 2300, 2600 megahertz on certain bands. Sometimes also lower. For example, in Europe, and also in the Asia Pacific region, 700 megahertz is also used for 4G LTE. So that's something to keep in mind of. But what are the frequencies used in Estonia? Well, for 2G we have 900 megahertz and 1800 megahertz. For 3G, again 900 megahertz and 2100 megahertz. And 4G LTE, 800 megahertz on band 3. So the B stands for B and then the number. 1800 megahertz on band 7 and 2600 on band 20. Telia 2 also uses two additional bands, which are 2100 on band 1 and 2300 on band 30. So those are the frequency stuff. We won't talk about the technical stuff anymore. That's the boring stuff. Now let's talk about the fun stuff. So as mentioned in the introduction, we have 7 SIM cards you can choose from. What are those SIM cards and how much do they actually cost? Well, let's have a look. So you can get the Telia Super SIM card that costs you €1, and it comes with 50 megabytes to start with and €1 in credit. That can be used to buy a plan if you want to. Then you have the Telia Simple SIM card that costs you just say €3. Also comes with 50 megabytes and comes with €3 in credit. Then you have the Elisa SIM card that costs €1 and comes with €1 in credit. And the Elisa Send SIM card that will cost you €3, but it will come with €3 in credit as well. The regular Telia 2 SIM card, it costs you €4. It comes with 3 gigabytes of data, 200 minutes, and 30 SMS. And if I'm correct, these perks, they will last you for 7 days. Then you have the Telia 2 Smart SIM card. Comes with it's sold for €1. Comes with 250 megabytes and €1 in credit. And then you have the Telia 2 Data Only SIM card. Costs you €4 and comes with 5 gigabytes of data for 1 week. So with these basic SIM cards, you already get some perks, usually in the terms of credit, but you also get megabytes. And especially Telia 2 doesn't play any games. You get gigabytes of data, 3 gigabytes, 5 gigabytes of data, depending on the SIM cards you buy. So why do I actually talk about all these SIM cards? Because it actually depends, or it actually matters, depending on how much you actually want to spend on data. Because some SIM cards are more expensive, but you get already a lot of perks, and some SIM cards are cheap, so you need to buy a data pack in order to use data. So let's say if you're only staying in Estonia for a week and you only need 1 gigabyte of data, 5 gigabyte of data, well, then you might want to go for the Tele2 basic SIM card or the data only SIM card, because it already comes with a lot of data for a full week. So let's take a scenario. You only want to spend €1. You might be thinking, €1, that's a bit more than $1. That's like 1.8 Australian dollar. I think the same in New Zealand dollar. You can't do anything with that. Well, as mentioned earlier, mobile data rates in Estonia are extremely low. So with €1, you can actually do something. And let's see what we actually can do. So with €1, you can actually buy 3 basic SIM cards, which are the Telia Super SIM card, the Elisa SIM card, and the Tele2 Smart SIM card. And as you can see, the Super one comes already with 50 megabytes, and the Tele2 comes with 250 megabytes. And then you would think, well, you would go for the Smart one because, the most amount of data. Well, the reason why I mentioned the credit part is that you can use the credit for data, for pay-as-you-go rates. And you may be wondering, pay-as-you-go rate, why not buy a data package? Well, it's just €1. And maybe we can buy a pack, maybe not, we will see a bit later. But with this credit that you get, you can actually buy a plan. So unlike most operators around the world, the starter credit you get, that's just for calling and texting, not for buying a plan. In Estonia, you can. So let's go down. Now, as mentioned earlier, we saw that, well, Smart might be the best. Well, think again. So the standard data rate of Super is €1 for 200 megabytes. And after that, your speeds will be reduced for the remainder of the day. So if you want, you can, use 1 gigabyte of data at 2G speeds, but 32 kilobytes per second is excruciating slow. You will, well, at least I get angry when my speeds are that slow. But still, then you still can get 200 megabytes for €1. For Elisa, the standard data rate is €1 per 200 megabytes. And for Smart, the standard rate is 4 cents per megabyte. And if you spend €1, you get 25 megabytes. So what do we get when we get this all together? So for €1, you can get a maximum of 250 megabytes with Super. With Elisa, well, we can only get 200 megabytes. And with Smart, 250 megabytes. So when we count it all up, it still looks like Smart is the best option. But there's something I didn't mention yet, but you may have heard it when you watched my Estonia comparison video, where I actually quickly introduced this. But if you go with Super and you buy the app and you add your email address to it, and then you confirm your email address, you get 1 gigabyte of data for free. And I think this gigabyte of data can be used for a week or a month. I'm not sure about the validity, but it's still 1 gigabyte of data that you can use for free. So because of this, our Super total goes from 250 megabytes to plus. I'm not sure what happened with the calculations, but you get at least 1 gigabyte of data with Super. So Super is the best SIM card if you only want to spend €1. For €1, you can get 1 gigabyte of data, and there are not that many countries around the world that you can get 1 gigabyte of data for €1 or the equivalent. So if you convert this to USD, which is, I think at the time of recording, 1.1112 USD, Australian dollar, 1.78 Australian dollar, you can't get 1 gigabyte of data with that. Maybe a few megabytes if you're lucky, but that's only if you're lucky. So let's increase our budget a bit, even though €1 might be enough, 1 gigabyte of data for a week if you stay in Estonia for a short period. But let's see when we spend a bit more money. So our budget now is €5. So what do we actually get? I have to scroll up there. With €5, we can buy all the starter packs that we have. So the ones that I mentioned earlier, and the perks. So I won't go too much in depth with that because we talked about it earlier. So what can we do? So we can buy the first plan. Yes. So with Elisa, with the price plan of €5, we get 2 gigabytes of data. With Super, the same, of all the prices of €5. So with Elisa, we can get 2 gigabytes of data, Super 5 gigabytes of data, Smart 5, Simple 5, Send 2, and Tele2. Well, we can't buy any additional starter pack because, well, the starter pack was already €4, and there wasn't a starter pack for €1 to buy data. So That's the data allowances we get when we buy a plan. So what can we see? Well, with a budget, or what I mentioned earlier, we want to be able to buy any plan with Telia 2, with Elisa Simple and Sen. You can only buy a 500 MB plan that lasts 1 day. So if you only want to spend 1 or 5 euros, we can only get, well, 2 gigabytes of data with Elisa, 2 with Sen, 2 with Telia 2, with Telia 2 data only 5 gigabytes. With Simple, we can get 5 gigabytes plus the 50 megabytes that we get when we use pay-as-you-go rate. Smart, 5 gigabytes of data plus 250 megabytes, and with Super, 5 gigabyte of data plus 50 plus 1 gigabyte, which is closely around 6 gigabyte of data. So based on these numbers, the Super SIM card is the best if you only want to spend 5 euros on data. And if you're wondering why I used megabytes instead of gigabytes, it's because, well, these allowances or these extra data, then you get a crazy gigabyte number. So I mentioned that in megabytes, but with the Super one, it's about 6 gigabyte of data, a bit less. Actually, a bit more. I'm not sure why I said a bit less. It's a bit more. So what's if we want to spend 10 euros? Well, the starter pack selection hasn't changed because we already be able to buy all the starter packs at 5 euros. So what are our options? So the price plan. So if we spend the most expensive plan we can buy with if we have a budget of 10 euros. So with Super we can buy the 8 euro plan, Simple also 8, 10, 10, 10, 10, 950. What are the data allowances? So with Super we get 10 gigabyte of data. Same with Simple, Elisa get 12. Same cost for Sen, Telia 2. With the data only one, we get 15 gigabyte of data, and with Smart, we get 12 gigabyte of data. So those are the data allowances we can get when we buy these starter packs. Now, we're talking about the free data, free data allowance. So that's what already comes with either with the starter pack itself or when using our free credit. So with Super, we get like a bit more than 1 gigabyte of data. Simple, 50 megabytes. Telia 2, we already got 3. Telia 2 data only, we got 5 gigabyte of data, and Smart 250. So the total amount in megabytes is this number, which, well, it doesn't say a lot. But if we convert this to gigabytes, and if we take some zeros of it, so normally it would, look like crazy numbers like this. So I took numbers of them. You can see that with Super, if we spend 10 euros, we can get 11 gigabytes of data. Simple 10, Elisa 12, Sen 12, Telia 2 15, Telia 2 data only 20, and Smart 12. So based on these numbers, if you only want to spend 10 euros on data, then the Telia 2 data only SIM card would be the best. So let's increase our stakes. Let's go for 20 euros, which is still extremely cheap compared to some other European destinations, but also compared to the world. Well, there's not that much comparison to do because Telia 2 offers unlimited data only pack for 20 euro. So based on that, Telia 2 automatically becomes the best SIM card if you want to spend 20 euro, which, well, it goes all the way there. But yeah, if you feel like spending 20 euro, go for Telia 2 because you get unlimited data for 20 euro. So yeah, that's all you need to know. So now we have done the price scenarios. Let's talk about speed. Which one is the best? Which operator? Well, like I said, if you watched my other comparison, so the Estonian comparison video, then we already knew that Elisa was the fastest, at least in that speed test, which was only done at one place. But I did speed tests throughout Tallinn. I was mainly staying in Tallinn. I did about 3 speed tests throughout the city, and then 2 at the Airbnb for the videos. So I got a data set of 5 speed tests per operator. So let's go a bit up. So which operator got the absolute fastest download speed? So that's like the fastest of them all. That was with Elisa, where I got the download speed of 238 megabits per second. 238. Do you get such high speeds in your country? Comment down below, because there are not that many countries that get even higher than 50, let alone 100 or 238. But yeah, I got that high speed with Elisa when I was in the old town of Tallinn, but that's just one speed test. So what if we take all the speed tests and get an average? Well, Elisa still won, where I got an average download speed of 150 megabits per second. Still excellent. Well, what speed did I get? Well, if I take them the average, Elisa 115, Super, or in this case Telia, 82, and Telia 2 63. And which is quite nice to see is that the spread between these speeds are not that crazy. Right now it's about 50 megabits per second, which is okay. There are other countries where the spread is crazy high, but these are good speeds. Even with Tele 2, 62 megabits per second, that's the average. That's extremely fast. I don't know what the global average is on top of my head, but this is way above the global average, and especially when talking about Elisa. Now, that's just the downloads, but I also have to take upload into consideration, even though not that many people care about it, but it's still something to keep in mind. So the fastest upload speed was, again, with Elisa in the old town of Tenet, with the upload speed of 49, so basically say 50. What about the average? Which one did I get the highest average with? Still Elisa, with an average upload speed of 34 throughout Tenet. And then the upload speeds ranked, but Tele 2 was actually quite close behind, and Super, but even then the speeds doesn't really matter that much. These are fast enough to upload your short videos to Snapchat, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever social media you use. So the speeds are good, but based on these findings, we can conclude that, well, you will get the best speeds with Elisa when you are in Estonia, because they had the highest speeds or the fastest speeds, at least in Tallinn. And of course, if you go to rural Estonia, the speeds will be a bit slower or significantly slower depending on where you are. If you go to the middle of the forest, of course, you might not even have any coverage at all. But your speeds with Elisa will be faster on average compared to the other operators, which are Telia 2 and Telia. Alright, what about European Union roaming? Well, you may be aware of this, or perhaps you're not aware of this, but as of 2017, if I'm correct, June 2017, the roam at like home regulation became in effect. What does that mean? It means that operators within the European Union cannot charge roaming rates anymore and are required to give an European Union roaming allowance to those living in the European Union. And that also somewhat applies to Estonia. And why am I saying somewhat? Because Estonia is part of the European Union. Well, as you have noted, that data rates in Estonia are extremely low. Estonian operators were given the option to opt out. And there are some countries within the European Union that got this option, especially in the Baltics. So talking about Latvia as well, and Lithuania, and also Finland as well. Some more Eastern European countries that I don't know on top of my head. So what does it mean is that they are not required to provide those with the Estonian SIM card a free roaming allowance. But instead, these operators have a fair use data roaming policy. They sell roaming packages or allow you to roam for relatively low rates compared to the roaming rates from a few years ago. So back in the 2000s, roaming rates were extremely high, but now they are more manageable. So what does that mean with our Estonian SIM cards? Well, only Simple and Super, which are both by Telia, offer free European Union roaming. So if you go with your Telia 2 SIM card, you would either have to buy a roaming package or you don't roam at all, and the same applies to Elisa. But as you know, I'm a high fan of actually buying local SIM cards because they're often cheaper than the roaming packages. Although the ones from the Estonian operators, they are quite competitive compared to the others around the world. But alright, so we have Simple and Super. All of the Simple plans, so especially, all of them, so the combo plans and data only plans, they come with EU cap ranging from 250 megabytes per second, no, not per second, 250 megabytes all the way up to 3.34 gigabytes. So you do get some decent allowance, but it's not as high as the allowance you get when you are in Estonia. And Super, they have the Super X plan that costs you €3. It comes with unlimited calls and messages in Estonia and within the European Union. And for data, you pay, well, not even a cent. It's like 0.002 cents per megabytes and €1 per 500 megabytes. And after that, you do not pay anything for the remainder of the day. I'm pretty sure there's some fair use policy on that, but let's just say you could use 1 gigabyte of data for only €1, or in this case 500 megabytes for just €1, which is quite a good deal compared to a lot of operators. Quite a good deal. So when we look at just these numbers, you would probably think that, well, the simple plans are, well, the best for AU roaming because you do not have to pay anything extra, which is true. It's already included in your plan. Whereas with the simple one, you will have to pay depending on how much you use on the day and how long you're staying abroad. But there's a little but. You can actually use more data with Super X when you're abroad. And I mentioned 1 GB a bit earlier, but let's say you want to use 1 GB of data every day for 1 week because that's your average or your normal data allowance. If you had the simple combo plan, you'll be out of your data at the 4th day, because if you get the most expensive one, you only get 3.34 gigabytes of data and then you will be out. Whereas with the Super X plan, you can still use 1 GB of data per day and only pay for 500 megabytes. So you could use 1 GB of data every day for a full week with the Super X, whereas you wouldn't be able to do that with the simple combo plans. So that's why, if you do some careful planning or some careful calculations, the Super X may be the best Estonian SIM card for AU roaming. If you do not want to pay anything more, go for the simple ones. If you can do some good calculations, try to get as much data out for the money you spend, consider the Super X plan. Alright, you've done all these comparisons. Now it's time to find out which is the best overall SIM card in Estonia. And it's not as straightforward as you would expect, as I done with my comparison video, where you just do the speed test and you say, well, Elisa is the fastest, so they are the best. No, there are so many things you have to take into consideration. You also have to take frequency into consideration, but in Estonia they just use the European standard, so that's fine. But you have to see, what do the SIM cards, how much do they cost, what perks do they come with, how much gigabyte, megabytes, whatever, prices, speeds, and based on that we can do it. So let's see what's the best Estonian SIM card. Well, it's quite difficult, but the thing is, every operator is the best in some way. And why is that? Well, there wasn't a clear winner in each of these scenarios. So we know that on average Elisa is the fastest. That's what we have seen so far. But Super is the cheapest operator if you only want to spend €10 or less on your data. But if you want to spend more, so more than €10, then Tele2 will be better because you get much more data for that. And then Simple is the best for AU roaming. And then you may be wondering, well, Aldo, you totally didn't talk about coverage. Well, the coverage in Estonia is quite excellent. Well, I say quite excellent. It is actually excellent because all operators cover at least 97% of the population. Initially, when I was in Estonia, I was told that the coverage with all the operators was the same, but one of the subscribers or somebody who commented on my comparison video, they told me that Tele2 covers 97% of the population, whereas the other two, so Telia and Elisa, they cover 99% of the population. But if you're staying in the cities, the more populated areas, villages, towns, your coverage would be fine with all the operators. So that's why I initially said that the coverage with all of them is excellent and the best. But even at 97% is, you could say that's great as well. So that's why I didn't really focus on coverage. But yeah, there's no clear defined winner as in some other countries where you could say, well, if you sacrifice a little bit on this and that, then this is the winner, or there's one operator that just wins every single category. But in Estonia, that isn't the case. So remember, if you go for speeds, or if you want the highest speeds, go with Elisa. If you want to do some European Union roaming, go for Simple. If you want to spend less than €10 on data, Super is the best. If you want to spend more than €10 on data, then Tele2 is the best. So yeah, there you have it. Those are the best SIM cards in Estonia, because there's no complete one winner. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button. There was a lot of research done for this particular article, or well, this video as well. But I also have an article with this. If you go to phonetravelers.com/Estonian comparison, then you will find out where I got all these data packages, all these information from. And in that article, I have everything based per operator. So simple all the packages, send all the packages, blah 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 blah, and that's how I got all the overview. I didn't include it in this video because this video is already long enough. Yeah, comment down below what you think about these findings, and make sure to subscribe to this channel where I do these type of reviews. Not so super often because one, they take a lot of time, and two, well, they take a lot of time, but I do individual reviews as well. So if you want to see the individual reviews I've done with Elisa, Super, and Taylor 2, you can check this playlist up here. But also read written versions of that if you go to my blog phonetourist.com. But I don't just only talk about Estonian SIM cards. No. I talk about SIM cards all over the world. I do this type of reviews, but I also have local SIM card buying guides. So buying SIM cards in all places in Europe if you are doing a road trip, train trip, or just exploring Europe. But also in the Americas, Oceania, Asia, even Africa. Even though most remote places that you probably have never heard of, like Niue or yeah, what's another, Tonga maybe I've heard of it, I don't know, but I have a local SIM card buying guide of those places. But I also talk about international SIM cards, mobile hotspots, and roam with your provider, because it doesn't always have to be super expensive, and just everything related to traveling with your phone. That's it for today, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.